advances to the Final Four.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball Podcast.
Shout out to Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball, man.
Illinois. Illinois. Illa-fucking-noy. We go from sweet to elite, a word Brad has used so many times this season to describe this team, this offense, the characters of the players that he's coaching, elite. And now the Illini are into the Elite Eight after a resounding win against Houston. 65 to 55, the final score in a game that, honestly, I thought the Illini should have won by more. But nonetheless, just an impressive performance, especially on the defensive end. Cameron Crocker, we're going to applaud you right now because that was impressive to watch. From the beginning, mid-range, 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 miss, 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 rebound, 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 rebound. Almost a flawless execution of a flawless game plan. And besides maybe like 2 or 3 minutes in the second half, I guess the first half for a little bit too, but 2 or 3 minutes in the second half is all the time that I felt like maybe this Houston team's going to come back. And the Illini, once again, like they did in their first two tournament games, stepped on the throat of the Houston Cougars in Houston. And I think you summed it up pretty eloquently last night. We out Houston, Houston, and Houston, damn it. I like that quote from you. But ultimately, just an impressive performance, one of the best ones we've seen all year. And if the Illini can continue to play the level of defense they played last night, I think the sky is the limit for this team. Noah, what did you like about this? Because there was a lot to like about this. And we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because we will be previewing the Iowa game in a separate video that we're gonna record right after this one. So they'll both be out tonight or by tomorrow morning. But what did you think of this Houston game? It was so much fun to watch. Big players, big time players hit big time shots. It seemed like everybody had a big time moment yesterday. Whether it was Tomislav hitting that three or if it was a Keaton step back or a Jake Davis layup, just incredible moments from everybody. But let's get your first thoughts in on this.
It was an incredible game. I watched most of it. I turned off the game at halftime and then stopped watching the very beginning of the second half, and then I went on a little bit of a run. And I texted Chase, I'm like, dude, I didn't turn it on. Should I just stop watching? And he's like, and you were like, maybe you should just not watch. And then I gave it a few minutes, and then I was like, I'm gonna watch, I'm gonna watch. Turned it back on. We were up by maybe 12 or 13 at this point, and we went on a little bit more of a run, and we ended up getting up 18 or 20 points, something like that. And I texted Chase, I'm like, it's not over yet. We got to step on their throats. They can easily come back. We've seen it before, and they almost did. I mean, we got lucky. Honestly, we got lucky that Houston was shooting so poorly. Nobody's talking about that. Everybody's like, "Oh, Illinois has played such great defense." Illinois or Houston couldn't hit shit. I'm gonna be honest. They could not hit a single shot. And I was thankful. I mean, obviously, that's something that you can't rely on, though. You can't rely on the team to shoot that poorly. And yes, Illinois' defense did help, and we did mess up with their flow, but you got to assume that someone like Iowa is going to make their shots. And if we don't score in the first half, like every single game this tournament, we haven't scored well in the first half. Iowa could beat us. And I know this is not an Iowa preview, but I'm just saying, like, we got lucky that this Houston team shot so poorly. And even still, they almost came back in that second half. I mean, at one point, they cut it to like maybe 6 points. I can't remember. And then we pulled away. I remember Tommy hit a big three at the end. A couple guys, really, really came through in the end of that fourth quarter, or the second half, rather. And with Kylan Boswell, I want to mention specifically, you got to make those free throws, but at the same time, good on you for getting to the line because he was the only one even getting to the line. Nobody could get there. I mean, the last 10 free throws of the game seemed to all be Colin Boswell. And I'll give him credit. He was able to draw the fouls, but he shot like 50% from the line, and a lot of them were just short, just way too short. And you hope it's something that they can just fix and it's all mental, whatever. Keaton didn't shoot particularly well from the line, from what I remember. Really, I mean, I remember David missed a couple, so just not a great night from the line. And people online, everybody's complaining, oh, Houston only shot 2 free throws. It's unfair, unfair. It's like, well, we already, I mean, obviously, Illini fans, we know how it works. Illinois never fouls this season, and Houston's a team that, for the most part, they like to shoot that mid-range jumper, which makes no sense to me. I was watching it and kind of stumped, why they're doing this strategy. Clearly, it wasn't very effective. But either way, I think it was a good win, but Greg said it on the sleepers recap, Illinois' offense didn't play particularly well at all. And I would agree with that. And we're gonna have to step it up, and I think we will. Houston's defense is really, really good. I mean, they did miss a lot of shots, but at the same time, you know, their defense disrupted our offense as well. So give them credit where credit's due. I think it was a tough matchup, but something special about this Illinois team. I mean, they do not want to go home. They're too good of friends. They love each other too much. And I do have a special little treat, custom made. It's a cupcake,
There you go.
orange and blue. I'm gonna eat that in a little bit. Maybe I'll do a little short, my reaction eating it. I'm
A
not
little
even a
more.
huge cupcake guy, though, is the thing.
You gotta cut the bottom of the cupcake off and put it on the top and make it like a sandwich. That's how I've been taught to eat a cupcake. Um, but you had 2 points there that I wanted to kind of bring up because I think they go well to the next 2 points of the conversation I want to have. Point A being you said Houston shot really poorly, and yeah, they did. They shot 38% from the, sorry, 34% from the field and 28% from the three-point line, which were both, if not season lows, very close to season lows for Houston, which is typically not the best offense the Illini have played this year, but they're a top 15 offense in KenPom. But you alluded to the fact that they missed a lot of shots and you weren't really sure what they were trying to do from the mid-range. Is there the argument that that was the defensive game plan for the Illini? Because it seemed really like to me that Illinois and their defense was super comfortable with letting Houston hit those mid-range shots. And yes, Kingston Fleming has hit those shots in the past. Yes, Chris Sinak has hit those shots in the past, but they never seemed to fall for Houston. And I kind of thought after they continuously did that and they continuously did not fall, like this is just the Illinois, this is just the Illini's defensive game plan. Force you to, I mean, it was a lot of going under screens. Uh, Not much hedging, just a lot of like, we're going to go under the screen and we're going to force you to shoot this mid range. And if you're going to continue to miss it, we'll do the same thing and we'll clean up the defensive glass and get a rebound. And it's one and done, which just seemed to be the case the entire game. And Houston can never string. I think the most points they scored on consecutive possessions was 4 points when Emmanuel Sharp hit those two like mid-range pull-ups in the second half. But that's my question for you. Is that more credit Illini defense or credit Houston just having a really poor shooting night? Because I think it's a little bit of both, and the Illini defense has certainly been trending up in the last few games.
Well, if you're Kelvin Sampson and you know that Illinois wants you to shoot mid-range jumpers and their whole point is to take away the three-point shot, and you know that historically, at least this season, you're known for shooting mid-range jumpers, you kind of have to start playing 3D chess. I mean, Sampson should have went into it with a different mindset, different strategy. He should have assumed Brad Underwood's going to try and make him shoot those shots, and I'll give him credit where credit's due. They were making a lot of them. I mean, they were pretty effective in that specific area, but you can't expect to win a game, especially against the number one offense in the country, not shooting threes. I mean, they shot a couple of them. They made they were making a decent amount of them in that second half, but you got to shoot more threes if you want to win a game. I mean, they only scored 55 points for a reason. And quite frankly, Illinois should have had 90 points this game. I mean, I think that was one of our worst offensive performances of the season, quite frankly, because it wasn't even that bad of one, but we are usually just so good offensively that that one stuck out as not a very good one at all. And I don't know. I mean, Illinois' defense has been a lot better these last 3 games. I'll say that much for sure. You wonder, is it something new? Is it a mentality thing? Maybe it's just taking this long for the team to finally figure it out. I don't really know. Maybe they're getting lucky. I really don't know. I think it could be a little bit of everything, the March mentality, win or go home. I think they're all taking that to heart. Clearly, this is a team that does not like to lose. They've said it many times. And I think they want to keep playing together. They love each other. They all talk about it all the time, how much they get along and how much they hang out after practice and outside of, the games. And I think these guys understand, Keaton's gone, Kylan's gone. Andre, good chance he transfers out, although I think the if we get to the Final Four and even a national championship, if Illinois wants him back, I think he'll come back because how do you pass that up? I mean, you get to a program that finally you have success, not only personal success, but also as a team, which is what he claims to have always wanted. Of course, he's going to say that, but really, I'm assuming every player wants personal success as well. But it, you got a lot of guys that are going to be leaving. So this team understands, hey, this is our last ride. We got to all, give it our all, and it seems that's what they're doing. I mean, they're playing with a different toughness. That's one thing they did do is they really did out tough Houston. I mean, they out rebounded them for the most part. I think there was certain times when I was yelling at the TV, get the rebound, get the rebound. But for the most part, I think they did really good in the rebounding department. Didn't really see too many block shots, and that's something that I haven't seen Z blocking too many shots lately in the last month or so. It seems that he's kind of slowed down with that, which, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's just something I've noticed, I suppose. Jake Davis, he had that one weird step back three, kind of
He,
looked like
he
that was a
airballed one, and
weird.
then 5 minutes later he drained one. So I
Yeah,
think
he
I think Jake Davis just needs to start out with an air ball. He seems every time he airballs his first three, he's cash for the rest of the game. And he was only 1 for 2 in this game, but he made his second one and the only other shot he took for the rest of the game besides that layup.
and he only played 12 minutes or something. I mean, Stojakovic played 20 something minutes, so this whole idea of like all the reporters always ask Andre, well, how does it feel coming off the bench? It's like he plays twice as many minutes as the starter. It's not a minutes thing. It's a rotation thing. We got to have someone off the bench that can bring some heat because let's be honest, nobody's really shivering in their timbers if they're staring at Jake Davis across the court coming off the bench versus Andre Stojakovic. And maybe not necessarily because Jake's a worse player, but just because that Stojakovic name, he's got a lot of hype and he does play really well. I mean, that first half, he took it to the hoop. I was worried because I was like, man, this game, we're going to have to just, because I mean, I'll give Houston a lot of credit with their defense. I think they played a really good game defensively. And that first half, we couldn't get a shot. Like we just seemed so out of rhythm. We couldn't get a good shot off, especially inside the paint. And I was really worried like we're gonna have to rely on the three so much this game. But Andre got to the basket really quick in that first half and had that nice little layup. And I was like,
I mean,
okay, at least
let's not kid ourselves. Andre is certainly, I don't want to go as far as to say, well, I would say a better basketball player than Jake Davis, but in terms of one-on-one potential, who you giving the ball with 2 points left down in the game or a minute left and you're down 2 points in the game, certainly it's Andre Stojakovic. You're not giving Jake Davis the ISO. Like, come on.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I would like to see a Jake Davis ISO step back three game
I
winner
would
though.
love to see it, but I don't think it's what we should be relying on. Second point of conversation I wanted to bring up, and you brought it up pretty perfectly again. Second half. Are we a second half team, Noah? Because this has been a trend in the tournament at least where, we have a pretty shaky first half against Penn. We allow them to stick in the game, go on to like what was it, a 19 something run against Penn, and then VCU, same thing. We let them creep back in the first half, and then we go on a 23-2 run against VCU. Second half to start it, we went on a 17-0 run. Or, well, I'm sorry, Chris Sinek had the dunk, so it was a 17-2 run or 17-4 run. But, I mean, by the time it got to, I mean, Kylan picked up his third foul. We send him out at the 16-minute mark, and I'm shaking in my boots thinking, oh, man, we're going to have to get to the under 12 without Kylan. Otherwise, we're going to be in deep trouble. And we go on a 17-0 run without him. So I mean, it's approaching the point where it's like, are we a second half team? Because obviously, 24 points is not how many points you want to see this Illini team score in a first half of basketball. Credit Houston's defense there, but I would say offensively, the numbers don't show that the Illini performed that poorly. They just shot less threes than they usually do. I didn't get the chance to look it up, but they only shot 23 three-pointers in this game, and I would bet money that that's the lowest total of three-pointers they've shot all season. And it wasn't like they're not open, we're not getting threes. It was just like I mean, I alluded to it in the preview. I think this Illini team had the opportunity to just pass around Houston because they're bigger and taller. And quite a few times we saw that. Keaton would drive in, they'd bring two to the ball. He'd kick it to Tomislav. Tomislav would fake a three-pointer. Somebody would buy out on that because obviously Tomislav's going to consistently shoot it. Doesn't mean he's going to make it, but he consistently shoots it. And then it was, I think, in the second half where they had that dump down to Mirkovic. Sanak fouled him. It was an and one. It's just like this ball movement is crazy. And to have 7-footers and 6'9" guys passing the ball like point guards, it's like, who's going to stop this team? So I think offensively, they really came to life in the second half. They scored 24 in the first, meaning they scored, what, 41 in the second half? That's a pretty good second half of basketball. That's 82 points a game, which is right nearly on their average. So I'm not too disappointed with the offense. I'm just curious, like, are we a second half team now? Because it seems to be a trend in this tournament, at least.
Yeah, I mean, at least the last few games it has been, and it's interesting because I remember at least the Texas Tech game and a couple other games, we had pretty dominant first halves, and then the second half is where we kind of crumble. But yeah, I mean, I suppose I'd rather be a second half team than a first half team. At least in the second half, you have a chance to win it. But I did notice, I feel like we kind of passed up a lot of threes. It almost seemed like we were a little hesitant at times. Maybe it was just a matter of wanting to slow the pace of the game down, so we don't want to launch the ball up with 20 seconds left on the shot clock type of thing, which I think that was the right move. I'd prefer that they don't launch up 35 three-pointers a game. But yeah, I do think that their shot selection was extra, cautious and for good reason. They knew that Houston's a good rebounding team, and you probably aren't going to get as many rebounds as you usually do. So you want to make the shots count. Make sure you get those gold shots, as they say in practice. They want to go for the gold shots. But yeah, I mean, honestly, all around, I didn't think anyone particularly had a terrible performance. I mean, Ben hit a pretty big three. There was that one sequence where Illinois had two back-to-back threes. I can't remember. I think it was
It was
Keaton maybe.
it was Tomislav hit the first one because it was Chase McCarty that hit two in a row to cut the lead to 9 points in the second half. And then Tomislav hit one off of an offensive rebound. And I immediately looked over to my dad and said, "Do not shoot that, Tommy." And then he buried it. So I was like, hell yeah. So it was a tap back to Tommy. Keaton kicked it to him. And then next possession down the court, they got a stop. And then it was Kylan with that crazy skip pass to the corner for a wide open Keaton.
Well,
Wow.
there was another sequence where somebody hit a three, and then Ben Hummerkaus hit that step back
Yeah.
three. It was like a fadeaway almost three. That and at that
That
point,
was that was the cap off the 17-0 run in the second half. But
yeah, at that point I was like, I didn't want to text you and say it, but I was like, yeah, we're gonna win this game. And then the
I was
inbounding
swimming on
trouble.
I was swimming on the floor when Ben hit that three. Ben needed
We
to hit a three in the NCAA tournament. And I
we
was like
yeah,
on the
that
floor, swim moving. Like it was crazy, dude.
we got to
Uh,
figure out the inbounding issues because that's not going to be something that's going to get us into the national championship game. If we play a UConn or a Duke, like they're just going to take advantage of that and they're going to score more points than this Houston team did. So we got to figure that out. And I don't get why we do that five on the baseline like football play because they never do it properly.
David always false starts. Have you
Well,
ever
they
noticed
all
that?
false start, and then by the time they get the ball to inbound it, they're all already out on the court. So it's like you might
Yeah.
as well just start there. It's like you gotta wait until you got the ball in your hands, and then you call hike. It's simple football stuff here.
I mean, it's three Balkans out there. You think they've ever watched American football? And they've watched Illinois football. So
I wanted to read some of our texts because I thought that they were really funny, but
I mean, go ahead.
I'm only gonna read the appropriate ones.
Yeah, I don't think I said anything too inappropriate last night, but
Uh, yeah, there was a point where I did say,
well, don't read it.
yeah, well, let's just say there was physical excitement, and
Oh,
I
yes.
got.
Yeah.
Let's just say I got aroused at one point. There was
Yeah.
an arousal.
I think it was the Ben Hummercast three.
Yeah, and then at one point I said I'm hyperventilating. You said I'm on the floor right
I
now.
told you I was swimming on the floor, dude.
This is
On a
what it
park.
was. So I text you. This is right as halftime start. I say, okay, I have a feeling we'll start making our shots. Our defense has been good. And you said I have a feeling they're going to start making some shots too. And then play resumes. I stopped watching at this point. you text me, you're like, oh, that was a good run. So I'm like, dude, I wasn't watching that run. And they went on a run. Am I a jinx? And then you said, maybe just turn it off. And I said, I'll watch it briefly. And then at that point, I mean, most of our texts are just like all capitals, like, it's now or never. Come on, boys, too much heart. So we were just besides ourselves. I mean, I was,
I just kept saying I wanted another win to recap because I don't want to make I don't like that if we
dude, I
don't
just
win
wanted
the
to get to
national
the
championship.
Iowa game because I'm
I
like, we
know.
can play Iowa in the Elite Eight. Oh
And
my
then And then I was like, like the next, I mean, God forbid we don't win the national championship, but if that doesn't become our reality, we are going to have to recap a loss. And I was just like, come on, let's just get one more for the Chillinois guys. And somebody dubbed you the Chill Master last night, so that was pretty cool as well. Noah is now the Chill
I'm the
Master.
chill master.
Yeah, that is that's a quite the nickname to have bestowed upon you. So. Um, I do want to give props to Merkovich and Keaton Wagler. I mean, both quietly almost, but they both were the first pair of freshmen to have a double-double in a tournament game ever in the tournament, which is a pretty crazy stat. Merkovich had 14 and 10. Wagler had 13 and 12, which is almost just, I mean, people are still waiting for that Keaton Wagler like 46 point performance in the tournament. I mean, look, dude, he's guiding this team not single-handedly, obviously, but he's the lead guard on a team that's going to the Elite Eight, has just knocked off Houston and Houston, and he had a double-double. He had 13 and 12 rebounds for a 6'6" guard. That's incredible. And
But
Brad,
let's be
we
honest,
watched
if
the
there,
pregame. Brad asked him to be, he was like, if we're gonna win this game, you need to rebound. And he had 12 fucking rebounds.
let's be honest though, if there's any game that Keaton can score 50 points, it's against Iowa and Bennett Sturts and Ben McCollum. It's
It's gonna
not
be
like some lockdown defense where they're going to be suffocating us the entire time. People online are talking about Iowa's size. I don't know if they have a lot of size. I'm not too familiar with Iowa. I know that Bennett Sturts is really, really good. I know that we beat them. And
we
I
both
wanted to
like
bring this up because I was watching a preview, Iowa versus Illinois Elite Eight preview from CBS Sports. It was uploaded today. And it's three analysts. I don't know any of them. And they're talking about the game. And all three of them predict Iowa to win. And one of the guys predicts Iowa to win because he says that they have more farmers than us, which I don't know if that's true. I didn't fact check it. Now that I think about it, I'm gonna chat GPT it right now. But it's like, bro, you do know that Illinois has got a bunch of farmers too, right? It's like mostly farmers.
Vulcan farmer.
We've got the best corn and we've got the best soybeans. So
Well,
put some respect on our
I
name.
I feel like Eastern Europeans are pretty scary farmers too. You ever
Yeah, and
watch
it's like,
Brett?
bro, that's what I'm saying. We got a bunch of Eastern European white guys and he thinks that we don't know how to farm. Yeah, bro, we plant seeds in the ground and we know how to cultivate, bro. They're Eastern Europeans. They did that in the medieval times, in the 800s.
They were doing that before America
They were
existed.
doing that during the bubonic plague, bro. They
Yeah,
know how to cultivate.
yeah.
They know how to grow corn. But I thought it was blasphemous, and I wanted to point that out. And I mean, I'm watching a lot of previews, right? This is another thing I'm noticing in all the Houston recap videos I'm seeing from these analysts, quote unquote analysts. They're all none of them are giving Illinois any credit. They're just saying, "Oh, Houston, they're bad." And this one guy's take, which I haven't heard too much of, only a couple people, but his take was it's unfair actually because
Oh,
and I sent it to you. Illinois is
I
basically
got
a
I got into
European team.
a I got into a like a comment argument with the guy because I said,
Well,
"Bro, did you just start watching college basketball this tournament?" And then he said to me, because his whole take was that it's unfair that Illinois has pro-European basketball players on their team. And then so I said, "Did you just start watching college basketball this tournament?" And he said, "No, I just felt like complaining since Houston's finally out." And I said, "Complaining about what? Illinois isn't the only team with Europeans on their team. Rink Mast, Hannes Steinbeck, Alvaro Folgaris, hell, even Khalifa Sacco on Houston is from France. This is just a clickbait video." Because his,
this
I
is the other
mean,
thing. Last year, Last year, when we were a six seed and we got bounced in the second round by Kentucky, what was the narrative? Brad, you got to give up the European experiment. It ain't working. You got to get back to the American players. That's what that was literally Field of 68. That was their exact take. And this year, now that we're having a little bit of success, it's not like we're the number one team in the country. It's not like we're dominating every single team out there. We have 7, 8 losses. We've lost a good amount of times. It's not some unbeatable pro team that we are just a middle of the road, top tier team. And
Well, we're getting to the elite category now.
well, I think we're a top tier team, but I don't think we're like I think of each tier is like in halves. I think we're the lower half of the top tier in general in NCAA, which I'll take that. I'll take that all day long. But it's hilarious this narrative that all of a sudden this year, now that we're having a little bit of success, it's unfair. These guys are so good. A week ago, 2 days ago, you guys said, "Oh, these European kids, they're not going to be able to handle Houston's athleticism. They're just not good enough to handle Houston's athleticism." And then we punk Houston. Well, you only punked Houston because they're professional players from Europe and they've played against pros. It's like, which take is it going to be? That we're not good enough? The European guys are slow and they're going to lose, or they're actually so good that it's not fair. They don't even know which one to do. So it just bothered me. Illinois is not getting any credit, any respect. You pick Iowa because there's more farmers. Get out of here. Get off the air. You don't know sports. All right, my
Or
rant's over.
agriculture for that matter.
Or agriculture. It's like we just need somebody to put respect on our name. That's what it is. There's no respect on our name right now. And I don't know what we need to do. I mean, maybe we just got to beat Iowa, get to the Final Four, and that'll finally, we'll have the respect. That'll get the monkey off Brad's back about the whole he doesn't get into the he can't go far in the tournament. I don't know. Whatever we got to do, I'm not sure if we could win a championship and it might not be enough for these people. So I'm just riding on the team, dude. I'm on the train. I've got David Merkovich in front of me. He's my captain, and I'm just riding with them to the championship. I do think we can get past Iowa. I think we can get past anybody in the North region, whatever region that is, besides UConn. I just don't want to play that UConn team at all. I'll play Duke. I'll play, I guess it's either going to be Duke or it's going to be this winner of this UConn game, which as of
The
right
UConn
now,
team is currently up 15 points with 3:38 left in the first half. So
yeah. So,
a good
so
UConn team against a Michigan State team that often doesn't have the offense to give themselves a chance if they're down. So
yeah, and I wonder if Duke is even capable of beating UConn. I think Duke's not playing too hot right now. So I think it unfortunately is going to be an Illinois UConn Final Four matchup. Knock on wood,
hey, let's save our predictions for the next video because that's going to be our preview. Before we wrap this one up, though, I do want to shout out Rob Nardini from Armchair Illini. I read some of these like stats out before in our preview of Houston, and he nailed them. His research was 4-0 on like he gave four stats that were important to this Illini game. The first one being 19, Houston was 19-0 when forcing 13 or more turnovers. They are now 11-7 when they force less because they only force 9 against the Illini. They're 18-0 when the opponent's free throw rate is worse than 37.9%, which they're now 12-7 when less because the Illini's free throw rate was 41.1% last night. Houston was previously 11-0 when they win the foul margin, and now they're 0-7 when they don't win that foul margin. Let me check here. The Illini committed 14 personal fouls. Houston committed 21. And then Houston was 16-0 when they win the free throw made margin, and they're 14-6 when they lose that margin. The Illini, although they shot pretty piss poor last night from the free throw line, only 57%. They shot 12 of 21. Houston only shot 2 free throws all night. So shout out Rob Nardini for those stats because they all hit yesterday. So
well, shout out Rob Nardini, but also shout out Chillinois because I have stats here as well. Iowa does have slightly more farmers. However, however, Illinois leads in some production categories like total corn and soybean output. So we got less farmers and we're putting out more output. We're just more efficient than Iowa.
yeah,
Hey, I don't quantity over quality, or I guess opposite of that.
quantity over
Iowa,
quality.
Iowa has approximately 85 to 90,000 farmers, and Illinois has 70 to 75,000. That's not that much of a difference if you ask me. And the fact that you're basing an entire take, and I'm sorry to get back to this, but you
My gosh.
can't base your, that's something I would do. You're on TV doing that shit, man. You got to get your life together. And all three of them picked Iowa to win. It's not like one of them was like, I'm going to pick Iowa because they're farm, haha. They all three have picked them. So I'm just this has become personal. Brad Underwood better be in that locker room telling these guys, look what they're laughing at you guys. They're picking the 9 seed to beat us. This is a team we've already beat. This is a team that's lost like they went on a stretch where they lost like 7 of 9. I mean, this is not a very good Iowa team. But yeah, of course they can beat anyone in the tournament because they're Iowa. They shoot the three like crazy. That's what they do every year. It doesn't matter whether it's Fran McCaffrey or whether it's Ben McCollum. They're going to shoot the three. They got a bunch of white boys. So the fact that people are acting like Iowa, a team that won 2 of the games, their last 2 games in the tournament, on buzzer beater shots. I mean, the Nebraska game wasn't a buzzer beater necessarily, but it went down to the last 20 seconds, and then they did that stupid play where they had 4 on the court, and Iowa had the breakaway score and foul. I mean, Nebraska was right in that game till the end. It's not like this Iowa team's blowing out teams. I mean, Illinois in margin of victory. They won this last one by 10. They won the VCU game by like 15 points. They won the Penn game by like 20, 30 points. It's like, we're blowing teams out. And arguably Houston's a way harder team than Florida. There was many people before that game saying this Houston team should be the 1 seed and Florida should be the 2 seed. And I didn't disagree with that. So I just I seriously don't understand where all the support for Iowa is coming from. I understand the whole Cinderella aspect of it, but at the same time, Cinderella shit. When has a Cinderella won a national championship? It don't happen. Very rarely do they even make a Final Four.
Hey,
So
a 9 seed made the Final Four in South Carolina a few years ago. So, but let's save the heat for Iowa for the next preview because we've got that coming up for you guys. So, Illinois wraps this one up in the Sweet 16 to advance to the Elite Eight over Houston, the 2 seed in the South region, and basically a home environment for Houston. But shout out to the Illini fans that were there because they were loud at the end of the game. And then leaving the stadium too, they were quite loud. I saw some videos of ILL chants on the way out. The Illini wrap this one up 65 to 55 and advance to the Elite Eight. They will face Iowa tomorrow, Saturday at 5:09 p.m. I think that's
I think 6 p.m.
5:09 p.m. on TBS. We will have the recap coming up momentarily after this, but for now, ILL.
I and I.